Welcome back. Klein has redesigned their flip sockets. This is their original ones, and I'm curious to see if the redesign is better, worse, or the same. Let's take a look at what is the same. So here is my original set. You can see they have some use on them. The colors are fading in a bit, but I do like that all the lettering has maintained well. So the color is flaking off in some areas, especially on this green. But this is well loved, and if you looked at my original review video for this, you can see why I modded it that way. They still work with the original flips. So here's the new redesign. This is the big one, and then this is the metric one. They are still cross-compatible, like there's nothing different there, okay? But so what's the same? Most of the socket size choices have remained the same. So I'll take that big boy off there, and you can see here that most of the sizes have remained the same. We have the 1/4 inch, we have the 5/16, we have the 3/8, we have the 7/16, and we have the half. One of the other things that remain the same is that I can still see the big negative of having this kind of catch on something and popping off. How likely that is for you, I don't know, but especially if you have it in screwdriver mode, it's pretty easy to get off if you are in a tight space and you're pulling up against a corner on accident, and then you lose this down something and you can't buy a replacement. I just kind of want to show a banana for scale, because these things are, this new SAE one is big, and the metric is the same size as the original, but again, mine has been cut down. So please subscribe. Now, what's changed? First of all, I'll take off these smaller bits to show you here. One of the biggest changes seems to be a slight aesthetics change. This is smooth and angular, and this is, I don't know if you can see that very well, but slightly less smooth. There's a little bit more of a groove right here. I don't know, I think it looks a little bit cooler. And another thing I will say is that the little spring here on all of them seems a little bit like more tight. And again, I know I've used this one a lot, these haven't, like, their fitment hasn't changed since the day I bought it. Now, the new ones feel a bit more secure than the original ones. You can see that this just kind of wants to fall off. And this isn't because of heavy use of this. It felt that way from day one. Whereas this one, you can see it's a lot more secure. So again, whether or not mine originally just had an issue with this specific one not doing so well, I'm not sure. But the new ones feel really secure. Even on the metric, feels really great. Another thing that's different that you probably already noticed is that they got rid of the 11/32 and they replaced it with a 9/16. Here is the original 3/8. Here is the new 3/8. If I put them side by side, you can see that the new 3/8 is not as thick as the original 3/8. If I take the original 1/2 inch and the new 1/2 inch, we see the same thing, where the new 1/2 inch is slightly smaller. Now, what the new model does have that's also different is there's a new flip bit that has a 5/8 and a 3/4 size. And this thing is big. Another thing that's new is that they now make metric. And fortunately, we had to wait for VACO to make a metric for Klein to finally, take us Canadians seriously. And as you can see, you have your 7, 8, 10, 12, 13, and 14 millimeter flip sockets. The shafts have also been changed a little bit. As you can see, this is the original length, and this is the new length of 6.5 inches, whereas this is 5 inches. And then as well, here's the original shaft. Again, remember I cut this down, but if we lined things up the same, we can see that where the little detents are are different. And if we try to make it the same, we can still see that even though this one is lined up, the metric one is further out than the original. Again, here's the original. Here's that 6.5 inch one. I would expect all of the ball detents to line up. So, again, they're not lining up. If we try to make this line up, you can see that even with this one lining up, this one's not lining up. So they adjusted the spacing of these and I think the length a bit from the original. If you look for that ball detent around there, I don't know if you can see that on camera, but it goes all the way through. Whereas with the original one, you can see there's still a flat bit right there where it doesn't go all the way through. I don't know if you can see the difference there. Practically what that means is, I don't know if there's a specific reason, maybe a tooling adjustment change made that happen. Sometimes we get stuck in life and it's never too late to, redesign your life. In the case of the redesign for these Klein flip sockets, it still has the same advantages and drawbacks as the original, except now you have more socket options. And in my mind, that's a great thing. If you like good things, in my original review of the Klein flip sockets, I go a bit more in depth into the pros and cons of the Klein flip socket. Check it out here.